guys, it's Tina and I am back, and I am here with another Get Ready With Me makeup tutorial. And this time around I was inspired by the spring weather and a lot of the spring collections that have been debuting that are featuring a ton of pastel shades. And I was inspired to do a light, airy, almost Easter inspired look. It's using very light pastel shades, but they're shimmery shades. I did a pastel shade with the Pastel Goth palette from Kat Von D, but that one was an all matte look. This time around I pulled out the shimmery shades and I really love how it turned out. It's light and airy and fun, and it does brighten up the eye area, and I paired it with a very bold lip. This is definitely a spring or summer lip. I would probably need to tone this down a little bit more, but it's the shade Feeling Myself from Too Faced. I have a little gloss over it, but I really like how it went with the lighter pastel shades in this look. So if you want to see this makeup tutorial, then stay tuned and I'll talk to you soon.
Hey there guys, so as usual I am starting off with a clean, freshly washed face, and the first thing I'm going in with is my moisturizer, and for this I'm using my L'Oreal Hydro Genius Gel Moisturizer, which is meant for oily skin, and it's just a very lightweight gel type of moisturizer that absorbs really quickly into the skin, and it's great for oily skin. I'm going to go ahead and fill in my eyebrows. I'm using some new products that I received from Makeup Forever. This is their new brow pencil. It's just a wooden type pencil, so you would have to sharpen it. And I'm using shade number 40, which is dark brown. And I'm using the pencil to create an outline for the shape of my brows and using it to extend the tail end of my brow as well. This pencil is a powdery type of pencil. It's not overly waxy, so it does pull very nicely, but it also leaves like a powdery finish on the brows. Next I'm going in with this other product, which is their brow liner, which I actually really like. This is like an eyeliner for your brows, and I'm using shade number 40, which is a dark brown again. And what I'm doing is creating very light feather-like strokes throughout my brows, and then I'm using this to also define the top side of my brows and further outline the shape. And in case you can't tell, I am really impressed by this product. This is the first time I'm using a product like this for my brows, and I really like the precision that I could get from this product. It gives you a little bit more intensity than some people are comfortable with, but I don't mind a Sharpie brow, so I'm just using this again to create feather-light strokes through my brow. Next, I'm going in with their brow gel, and this is shade number 35. This has a very large brush, but it does have fibers in it, which helps to fill in the brows and give a little bit more volume to the hairs, which I don't mind at all either. So far so good. I will do a full review of these products if you guys want me to, but now I'm going in with my eyeshadow primer, which is my anti-aging primer potion from Urban Decay to help prevent my eyeshadows from creasing. And then I'm going to grab my Urban Decay Naked Skin Weightless Complete Coverage Concealer in the shade Medium Dark. And I'm applying that directly under my brows to act as a highlight and to help clean up any of the stray hairs that were left behind from tweezing. And I'll grab my Bare Minerals concealer brush just to outline the shape under my brows and create a sharp outline. And I'll blend this product downwards onto my lids as well. And then I'll go in with my Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush just to blend out the excess and blend out the edges of this color. I will also use a little bit of the product that's left back and brush through the start of my brows, and that will give it more of a faded effect rather than having a harsh line at that very start. Next, I'm grabbing my NARS Soft Matte Concealer in the shade Caramel, and I'm grabbing that on the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush again, and I'm going to just apply this all over my lids, and this is going to help to even out the skin tone on our lids and to also act as an eyeshadow base and primer. And then I'll go ahead and set everything in place using my Laura Mercier translucent powder, and I'm just tapping the powder directly over that concealer using a makeup sponge. This is the contour blender from L'Oreal, and again just setting everything in place and removing any excess moisture. Now after all that, I realized that I needed a sticky primer for my lids, so I'm grabbing my Kat Von D High Voltage Eye Primer in the shade Skin, and I'm applying that directly on my lids. I'm going to use loose pigments for this look, so I really needed to have a tacky primer, and I'm just applying this on the lid, avoiding the crease area because this primer can get a little bit creasy because it is very, very sticky, and I'm just blending that out using my Real Techniques Deluxe crease brush. Now I'm grabbing one of the Makeup Geek foiled pigments. This is the shade Abracadabra, which is a light minty green, and I'm applying that with my Rite Aid eyeshadow brush. And like I said, this primer is very sticky, so it's great for eye pigments. It just grabs onto them and gives them something to stick to. So this pigment is really picking up, and I'm just tapping it on the inner part of my lid, avoiding the very inner tear duct area, and then I'll go around the edges and make sure that we blend out any harsh lines that we have created with this eyeshadow by going back and forth using buffing motions just on the edges of the eyeshadow. Next, I'm going in with another shade from Makeup Geek. This is the shade Atlantis. This is more of a periwinkle purpley blue shade, and I'm applying that now on the outer lid and middle of the lid area, just pressing that color again over that pigment very lightly with this synthetic brush. A synthetic brush is best for these pigments since they are a loose formula and they're a little bit more emollient, so using a synthetic brush will really help to pick that color up and pigmentation. Then I'll go in with a clean blending brush. This is my J5523 from Chikuhodo, and I'll lightly use buffing motions, windshield wiper motions to blend out the edges in the crease area. Now I'm going to grab a pigment from MAC. This is High Def Cyan, which is just a matte sky blue shade, and I'm applying that on the outer lid and outer V area using that blending brush that we used from Chikuhodo, just buffing it back and forth just to build up a little bit of dimension, but I don't really want a dark blue color on that outer lid area. I'm going to grab another matte pigment from MAC. This is the shade French Violet, and I'm going to apply that just on the outer V area again, kind of where we applied that blue shade, but I'm using this to build up dimension and depth. Again, not going in with a really dark shade. I'm kind of using the purple itself to create a little bit of depth without adding a dark color, and I'm just blending out the edges to make sure we don't have any harsh lines. And to build up the color, I'll just use circular buffing motions, and then I'll go around the edges using back and forth windshield wiper motions to really buff that color out and remove any harsh lines that we may have created, and just lightly buff around the edges of the color. Now I'll clean up any fallout and any excess using a makeup wipe, and I'll create a sharp outer edge to that eyeshadow as well by just going right against the outer lid space. Now for the inner tear duct, I'm grabbing another one of the foiled pigments from Makeup Geek. This is the shade Telepathic. This is a beautiful light yellow or a white yellow gold shade, and it's really beautiful. I'm just popping that on the inner tear duct to act as my highlight and really intensify that area using a pencil brush, and then I'll go around the edges using my Eddie Funkhouser large crease brush just to blend everything together and make sure it's nice and seamless. Now since we have that in place, I'm going to go ahead and work on the skin. So I'm grabbing my blur stick from Milk Makeup. I'm just going to apply this in my T-zone area, and I really have been liking this stick. What I do is apply it where I want it, so around my nose and cheek area, and then I will use my fingers just to press that product into the skin and into the pore area, really massaging it into place so it's nice and seamless, and I can help to push it again into my pores and help to minimize that pore area. For my foundation, I'm using the Born This Way foundation from Too Faced Cosmetics. This is in the shade Caramel, and I'm just buffing that over my skin using this buffing brush from Morphe. I was trying to use a cheaper alternative to my Marc Jacobs The Face 3 brush, but of course it just was not the same, but it worked out okay. But I really like this foundation, and I'm trying to make sure that I buff it in around the nose area, and this foundation actually gives a really nice finish to the skin, and it is a great color match as well. I just really like how it looks on my skin. It looks very pore minimizing and smoothing and flawless, so I like this foundation quite a lot. And I'm going in with the NARS Soft Matte Concealer again, but I'm gonna apply it under my eyes, and I'm using an Urban Decay eyeshadow brush, and I've enjoyed using a brush to apply this concealer under my eyes rather than using a sponge or my fingers. I just like how it works with a brush, and this brush is really nice to build up the concealer just where you need it and to buff it out as well. So I've been really liking this concealer quite a lot because soft matte describes exactly the finish. It's a soft matte finish. It's not cakey or too heavy. I really like this concealer as well. So I've been enjoying some of these products that I've been trying lately. And then I'm going to set everything in place using one of my Die Hard Ride or Dies. This is my Urban Decay Ultra Definition Foundation in the shade Medium Dark Golden, and I'm just pressing this in over my skin using my Tarte Large Powder Player brush just to set everything in place and again add a little bit of flawless coverage. It really does help to make your skin look really seamless and poreless, as you can see. Now I'm going to highlight my brows. I'm using the Mirage eyeshadow from Makeup Geek on a large shader brush from MAC. This is the 252, and I'm just applying it directly under my brows and then blending it in and buffing it downwards onto the brow bone area. And then I'll go in and finish up some final touches with my blending brush, just making sure everything is all blended together and it looks seamless and there are no harsh lines left behind. For my mascara, I'm using my Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara because what else would I be using at this point? I do love my Maybelline mascara, but for a foolproof mascara that I know is going to work, I grab my Too Faced Better Than Sex. For my lashes today, I'm using my Eylure Luxe lashes in the style Baroque. And these are really beautiful lashes that are not too bulky or too extreme, but they do add a certain oomph and volume and length to the lashes. So I really like the style, and they're really lightweight as well and really comfortable. So I think if you're looking for mink style lashes, not mink lashes, but mink type lashes in the drugstore, you can find these from Eylure, and again, it's a really comfortable and beautiful style. I'm gonna line my lower waterline using this ColourPop eyeliner. This is the shade Crybaby, and it's a really light lavender purple shade. I'm applying that just on the outer lower lash line, and then I'll buff it out using my MAC Cosmetics small shader brush. This is a 242. And I think that's a little bit too pale. I don't know, like I wasn't really buying it. So I'm going in with a little bit of this pigment from MAC. It's the shade Pink Vivid, which is a bright pink. And I'm just going to buff that over the liner because I just wanted a little bit more intensity on that lower lash line that lavender was just not doing for me. And I really like how the pink looks paired with these pastel shades on the eye, even though the pastel shades are a bit much. But I think the pink kind of helps to ground it without adding a dark color, because I really didn't want to add a dark color. And I'm just going to buff out the edges of that shade with a clean blending brush. Now I'm going to grab one of my Stila Magnificent Metals eyeshadow duos. This is the shade Sea Siren. This came out with their summer collection, and it's a light shimmery pink shade with a little bit of like a teal blue iridescence, and I thought it would tie in well with the pink and the blue on the lids. It's a little bit more sheer, and that's what I was going for. I didn't want it to be too intense, so I apply that to the inner tear duct area, and then I'll go in with my lower lash mascara, which is my MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash Mascara, just to intensify those lashes so they can stand out against the lower lash line colors. And then to add a little bit of darkness to really ground the look, I'm using my Skinny Smolder Eyes from Tarte in the shade Onyx. It's just their matte black eyeliner, and I'm just lining my lower waterline with that color. Now we can go back to the face. I'm going in with my blush. I'm using a light pastel pink blush. This is the shade Love Cloud from MAC. It's a satin finish blush, and it's a very beautiful subtle blush. I'm using a T4 brush from Chikuhodo to just buff that in on my cheeks. Again, I'm going for a very light pastel spring look, so I'm keeping the shades very light even on my skin. And to add a little bit of highlight, I'm using the shade Celestial from Makeup Geek. It's one of their duochrome highlighters, and it's a light shimmery lavender shade, and I'm just popping that on the high points of my cheeks and really buffing it in using my number 3 brush from Wayne Goss. and I'm really blending this color out. Now, the good thing about these highlighters are, even though they can be intense, you can also buff them out to a really light shimmer on the cheeks. And then to blend that out a little bit, I'm just going in with a little bit of my face powder because I don't want that intensity anywhere near my under eye area. So I'm making sure that I just blend out the color so it's not too harsh or too intense. Now for the lips, I'm going in with this peachy shade. It's a bit of a pastel on my skin tone. It's the shade Feeling Myself from Too Faced. It's one of their melted liquid matte lipsticks. And I saw Luster Luxe use this Katie, and it was really beautiful on her. It's a little bit too light and intense on me, but for this look, I feel like it works, even though I would probably want to pair it with a darker lip liner just to tone it down a bit, because it's a really bold color. I'm going in with my Makeup Forever number 10 liners to see if I can just ease this color in a bit on my lips and kind of make it blend a little bit better with my darker skin. It didn't really quite work out that way, but I still really like it. And then I'm going to top this off using one of my lip glosses. This is a Star Gloss from Girlactik in the shade Orange Twist, and I thought this color was really beautiful, and I really like how it turned out. Like I said, the only thing I would change is probably use a deeper, like a dark brown lip liner for this lip, but I still really like how it turned out. I think it looks really soft and pastel and spring-like, so overall I really like this look, and hopefully you enjoyed it as well.
Alright guys, so hopefully you enjoyed this Get Ready With Me video. I really loved playing with these different shades, and I really like how the Makeup Geek foiled pigments worked out. They're really beautiful shades, but I do advise that you tap a little bit of the pigment out into the lid of the jar and really press your brush into the pigment to break up the little balls, because again, those balls just end up rolling off your bristles and it just falls all over the place. But you just break them up by pressing them really hard and they will apply nicely over the lids. I loved how they blended out, and they weren't as shimmery as I expected. To me, when Marlena said they were foiled pigments, I was expecting them to be kind of like their foiled eyeshadows but less greasy so I could use them because I have oily lids, and her foiled pigments are just a mess on me. I was hoping they would give me that sheen and that shine that I was actually drawn to with her foiled eyeshadows. And that didn't really happen. I mean, there's some shimmer and some sheen, but it's not really metallic or foiled. So I think the foiled pigment description is a little bit misleading, if I do say so myself, because do you see anything foiled here? No, it's just really beautiful shimmer. So take that for what it's worth. If you were skeptical about them because you really didn't want that high shine, they're not that shiny, and I did enjoy working with them. And as usual, I'm going to go ahead and leave a full list of the products used down below in the description box, along with links on where you can pick them up. And most of those links are affiliate links, which means if you make a purchase through those links, I do end up getting a small sales commission. It doesn't change the retail price of the product, so it would be the same price if you picked it up in store or online by yourself, but using my links gives me a small commission. If you're not comfortable with that, I totally understand. Just go ahead and pick it up any way you choose, either shopping online or again in store. But if you do purchase through my links, thank you very much for the support, because it does help me to put back into the channel. I will also leave links to my Instagram and Twitter page where you can definitely follow me along. And let me know if there are any other looks or any other videos that you want to see from me. I definitely want to give you guys content that you want to see as well, and not just content that I personally want to create. So I will talk to you guys soon. Bye!